A car company nobody takes seriously just quietly ended a 100-year argument in engine design, not with a concept car, not with a press conference full of buzzwords, with a single confirmed number that every engineer at BMW, Toyota, and Volkswagen is now staring at, because none of them have an answer for it. That number belongs to Mazda, and for 13 years they said almost nothing while they built it. Here's the problem every gasoline engine has had since the first one ran. There's a perfect ratio of air to fuel where nothing is wasted. Every drop burns, every molecule of oxygen gets used. Engineers call it Lambda 1. Hit it, and you get the maximum possible energy out of the fuel you put in. Miss it, and you're burning money out of the tailpipe. The problem is, no production engine has ever been able to hold that perfect ratio everywhere. Idling, cruising, flooring it, cold mornings, the mixture drifts constantly. So every automaker on Earth has spent decades bolting on fixes instead. Catalytic converters, oxygen sensors, turbochargers, hybrid batteries. Expensive patches for a problem nobody could actually solve at the source. To understand how big a deal this actually is, you have to understand how long the industry has been stuck here. Every major automaker has taken a swing at solving lambda drift directly. BMW tried lean burn combustion in the early 2000s and walked away from it. Mercedes tried a version on their 4 cylinders and quietly shelved it a few years later. Even Toyota, with all their hybrid engineering muscle, has never claimed to hold Lambda 1 across a full operating range. They built their entire efficiency strategy around avoiding the problem instead of solving it. That's what a hybrid actually is, if you strip away the marketing. It's not a fix for the combustion problem. It's a way of using an electric motor to keep the gas engine running only in the narrow window where it's efficient, and letting the battery cover everything else. Toyota didn't solve lambda drift. They built a very good workaround for it, and that workaround has been the foundation of their reputation for 25 years. So when Mazda says they've held that perfect ratio everywhere, all the time, with no electric motor doing the compensating, that's not an incremental improvement on the workaround. That's a claim that the workaround was never necessary in the first place. Mazda just said they solved it. It's called the SkyActiv-Z, a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder that Mazda claims holds that perfect combustion ratio across the entire operating range. Not in a lab, not in a narrow sweet spot, but from idle to redline. Mazda's own engineers point to a piece they call heat insulation technology as the missing link, a way of controlling heat loss through the cylinder walls that had been the last unsolved variable in gasoline efficiency for decades. Pair that with a heat recovery system that reportedly pulls usable energy out of heat that would normally just vanish through the engine block, and you get thermal efficiency numbers that no current turbocharged engine can touch. Now here's where it gets real. This isn't launching in some halo model nobody buys. Mazda is putting the SkyActiv-Z into the next generation CX-5, the single best-selling car the company makes. Over 4.5 million sold worldwide. And for the first time, it's paired with a hybrid system Mazda built entirely in-house, not borrowed from Toyota the way their current hybrids are. Sit with that for a second. Mazda has spent years quietly renting Toyota's hybrid technology because building their own wasn't worth it. That dependency just ended, and Toyota, the company that's defined hybrid efficiency for a quarter century, now has a smaller rival closing the gap with a gas engine that barely needs the hybrid motor to get there. Then there's BMW. Mazda has confirmed this same architecture is being scaled up into an inline-six. That engine walks straight into BMW's backyard, the B58, arguably the best turbocharged inline-six on sale today. It's smooth, it's strong, and it still fights the same lambda compromise Mazda claims to have eliminated. If Mazda's 6-cylinder holds up, this isn't a power fight anymore. It's a fight over whether BMW built the right kind of engine at all. And Mazda claims it can hit Europe's brutal Euro 7 emissions rules and the toughest US standards without losing a single horsepower, something that would have cost their older engine roughly 30% of its power to achieve. And it doesn't stop at emissions compliance. Mazda's engineers have laid out 2 separate paths towards something no other mainstream automaker has publicly committed to at the same time, an engine that could end up carbon negative. The first path is synthetic e-fuel. Run the SkyActiv-Z on fuel manufactured from captured atmospheric CO2, and in theory, the engine emits nothing that wasn't already pulled out of the air to make the fuel in the first place. That part isn't new. Several automakers are chasing e-fuel compatibility right now. What is new is the second path. Mazda is testing a mineral called zeolite, packed into the exhaust stream to physically capture CO2 before it ever leaves the tailpipe. Zeolite has this strange property at combustion temperatures. It grabs onto CO2 molecules the way a sponge grabs water. If that holds up at production scale, run a SkyActiv-Z on synthetic fuel with a zeolite exhaust system, and you don't just have a clean engine, you have an engine that pulls more carbon out of the air than it puts in. The more you drive it, the more it cleans up after itself. Think about what that does to the entire premise of the 2035 combustion ban in Europe. That legislation was built on one assumption: that a gasoline engine can never be a genuinely clean technology. Full stop. Mazda isn't asking regulators for an exception. They're building the exact thing the ban assumed couldn't exist. Is it guaranteed to work at scale? No. Zeolite exhaust capture is still in testing, and testing and shipping are two very different things. But it tells you how far ahead of the rest of the industry Mazda's engineering roadmap actually is right now. Now, before this sounds too good to be true, it's worth remembering Mazda has been here before. In 2019, they launched the SkyActiv-X, promising 20 to 30% efficiency gains. Real-world buyers got about 9%. It cost almost 30% more than the standard engine. It had cold start misfires, carbon buildup issues, and Mazda eventually pulled it from multiple markets. It never even came to the US, and it wasn't just underwhelming performance. Owners reported the engine dropping out of its efficient combustion mode randomly in normal driving with no warning. The system would just quietly switch back to a conventional, less efficient mode because the sensor got confused by conditions outside its comfort zone. Imagine paying a 27% premium over the standard engine for technology that occasionally forgot to turn itself on. That's the kind of failure that doesn't just hurt sales, it hurts trust. And trust is exactly what Mazda is asking buyers to extend again with this next engine. So the skepticism isn't optional here, it's earned. Mazda burned some of their credibility on this exact promise once already, and pretending otherwise would be dishonest. But the engineers behind SkyActiv-Z are the same ones who watch SkyActiv-X fail in real driveways, not just in a lab. This isn't that engine with a new badge. It's a completely different architecture built from scratch specifically to fix the exact failure point that killed the last one. SkyActiv-X was a 2.0-liter engine trying to bolt compression ignition behavior onto a design that was never built for it, using a mechanically complex supercharger that added its own failure points on top of an already fragile system. SkyActiv-Z started from a blank page with Lambda 1 combustion as the entire design brief, not a feature added late. The heat insulation technology directly targets the wall heat transfer issue that made SkyActiv-X lose stability under load, the exact thing that broke it in real-world driving. There's one more difference worth mentioning, and it's less about engineering and more about posture. When Mazda launched SkyActiv-X, they marketed it early and loudly, years before it reached showrooms, with efficiency numbers attached before the engine had finished real-world validation. That's exactly backwards from how they've handled SkyActiv-Z. This time, the announcement came after 13 years of internal development, with a named production vehicle, a named launch year, and named engineers standing behind specific numbers. That doesn't guarantee the numbers hold up, but it's a meaningfully different way of making a promise. And it's worth noticing that Mazda seems to have learned that lesson too, not just the technical one. So here's where this actually leaves us. Mazda says the SkyActiv-Z lands in the 2027 CX-5. Until independent testers and real owners get their hands on it, everything here is still a claim. A serious one backed by named engineers and a real production timeline, but a claim. Be skeptical, track the real numbers when they land, but understand what's actually happening here. The smallest mainstream automaker in the world just forced BMW, Toyota, and every regulator in Brussels to recheck their own math. That doesn't happen because of marketing. It happens because for 13 years, one company refused to say anything until they were sure it was true.